Welcome back. Today we'll be going through a new topic called linear relationships. Our first lesson will be on midpoint of a line segment. This will be a little review from Year 9 content. So we're just going to go through it really quickly. Midpoint is basically the halfway point between a line. Okay. That's just basically it. It's just a halfway point. And to find the midpoint of a line, we need to figure out the average of the x coordinates and the y coordinates. Because it's a line segment, we're talking about a straight line. Straight lines have coordinates in this case. Okay. One thing I would like to preface is a certain thing. If you have a straight line and it has the endpoint in green here, right? The midpoint, as we said, was the halfway point. Now, one thing that I would like to preface is that in the blue, right, the distance between the endpoint to the midpoint, it needs to be equal from the other side, from the midpoint to the other endpoint. Okay, it needs to be of equal distance, which makes sense because the midpoint is the halfway point of a line. Okay, so let's go into the important formula to figure out midpoint. We said to find the midpoint, we need to find the average of the x and the y coordinate. So this would be the formula. It'll be x1 plus x2 all over 2. So that's me finding the average, comma, because it needs to be in a coordinate. I'm talking about graphing a straight line now. Comma, y1 plus y2 all over 2. That's my y value for my coordinate. And that's it, right? Then, one thing I would like to preface is, if only this highlighter would work, there you go, is that your x1, y1 is your first point that you are given, okay? And of course, your x2, y2 is your second point, okay, that you're given in the question. This will make sense when we work out the question. Okay, so that's my important formula. Let's go to our example. We'll go through two. So our first example says, find the midpoint mxy of the line segment joining these pairs of points. So you'll be given a pair of points. In this case, in this question, we are given 1, 0, and 4, 4. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to write down the formula, right? Midpoint equals to x1 plus x2 all over 2, y1 plus y2 all over 2. Once I finish writing the formula, what I'm going to do next is very important and could be useful for you, right? To figure out which one's my x1 and which one's my y1, which one's my x2, which one's my y2, with my points right underneath them, I'm going to write down my first point as x1, y1, and my second point as x2, y2. So the ones and the twos indicate to me that this is my first point, or this is my y value from my second coordinate. This is my x value from my first coordinate, okay? This will be useful for the next few lessons. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute it. So my x1 is 1. So I'm going to go 1 plus my x2 is 4. So I'll substitute those all over 2. Make sure to have the comma, right? That indicates to me that it is a coordinate. My y1 is 0 plus my y2 is 4 all over 2. Done. Now you can put the x value here into the calculator, or you can do it yourself, right? If you're very good with your mental math, this will be 5 on 2, comma 2. Right? So to get these values, if you're not great with your mental math, just put these two values separately into the calculator. Okay, so that's the first example. My midpoint will be 5 on 2 as my x value, comma 2. Okay, let's go to my second example. -3, -2, and 5, 3. Okay, I'm going to write down my formula, which is x1 plus x2 all over 2, y1 plus y2 all over 2. Once I've done that, I'm going to label my coordinates as x1, y1, x2, y2. Once I've done that, let's substitute it in. Substitute my values. X1 is -3 plus, okay, this is where we need to be a bit careful because there's negatives. So my x2 will be 5 all over 2. Okay. Comma. My y1 is -2 plus my y2 is 3 all over 2. Okay. Again, if you're not really great with your negatives, just put this into the calculator separately, and then you should get -2. So it should be 1, comma 1.5. That should be your answer. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.